Good morning and welcome to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm Margaret Ann Prater alongside Coach Bryan Moore. And this is brought to you by Pruitt Ford. You can see it on YouTube and the NFHS network as well as Facebook. So look for those ads and click on through and give it a view. Also on Friday nights, please tune in to the NFHS network if you can't make it to the games, where our guys will bring you the live broadcast. Before we start, Coach, let me thank our sponsors. We have Marmac Commercial Real Estate, the agency on Main, Life Church, Quorum's Building and Farm Center, and Peck Funeral Home. Coach, I just want to take a moment just to breathe. Last week, I'm sure you noticed and knew, but everyone's body language was very tense. Not worried, but just tense. So, you can breathe a sigh of relief now. The big hump's over.
Yeah, we've still got a little bit to do. But yeah, that was obviously one that we needed to play well, and everybody, you can say what you want, but you can't ignore the fact that it's a massive game. I mean, the kids know it, fans know it, we do too, and I try not to lie to them and tell them the truth that you're gonna have to play extremely well, and it's gonna be tight, like we knew. But I was proud of our kids the way they finished, and once again, even though it was tight, we made the plays when we needed to.
That's right. We knew Muscle Shoals would smack us in the mouth. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna line up and on the first whistle. How did you prepare the guys for that?
It's hard to do. I mean, and it wasn't perfect. I mean, we didn't do a very good job stopping the run. Obviously, it continued to be a battle. Every day we're trying to get better, and we're making some progress, believe it or not, especially with certain guys. But yeah, they were really physical, really well coached. They did what they needed to keep moving the ball. We helped them in a couple of areas with the fake punt, and then we busted a coverage on their first touchdown. And we can't do those things in a game like that. We just can't afford to. But we kept scoring and kept applying the pressure. Kept a 2-score lead late. The turnover from Walker was huge, so that was really big. And then there's several moments in that game that really made the difference. The fact that we scored right before half and then got the ball back and scored again, those were crucial. So again, we did what we needed to in a very tough environment.
Well, and you were talking about getting the ball back. I'm going to start with kickoff. We won the toss. This time you chose to defer. Usually, when you look at patterns, offensively strong teams choose to take the ball. Yeah. So can you tell us what your reason is?
I'm trying with the defense to give them some confidence, and I told them before the game, I'm going to put you out there first. If we win the toss, we're going to run you out there. And they had an opportunity to get a stop. I mean, it was 3rd and goal for like the 11, and they threw the ball over our heads. It can't happen. So we did enough to get off the field or force a field goal. But we didn't finish the drive. But yeah, I mean, and there's something to be said about getting the ball after half too. Right. That was the difference in the ball game Friday. Again, I call it make it take it football. When you score right before the half and you get it right back, that's 2 possessions or a 14-point swing. So it worked out. But I'm always up in the air on that. Like, do we take it or not? Because for me, even coaching for a long time, it's hard to tell from film, how you match up with your opponent. And so you don't know. You don't know how one phase is going to play over the other, some individual matchups. But so that was a gamble, I guess, to let them score first. We had hoped to get the stop. We didn't. But our kids responded again in the second half, scored first. That was huge.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to cut to the chase here. The guys who had the last name Fletcher, they did pretty well Friday night. Yeah. I want to talk about Zay first. He was our go-to guy in the first half. He had 5 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns total in the game. But what I wanted to talk about most about him was I noticed some adjustments to catch the ball. During his route, he was making adjustments that were Division I type plays.
Well, his catch radius is better. That was something that we talked about going into the year that, he always has had, great speed and could get over top and was a good route runner, but it was catching the balls behind him or laying out kind of like he did against Athens basically and being over the top of those guys and coming down with a catch. But the post that he called, the back judge was kind of in the way, the official, and he goes in behind him and has to flatten his route out. Which I thought was an incredible catch, and then to get in the end zone, and then the crosser that he caught for the second touchdown was a big play, and then finishing the run. He's a bigger kid now. He's continuing to fill out and grow. He's got great strength, and so finishing in the end zone was huge. But he made some major plays, and then the ball in the third quarter that he kind of boxed the guy out, kept on his back, jumped and caught it. That was a huge 3rd down conversion, and kept us on the field, and again allowed us to drive and score. To make it a 2-score game. So he's come a long way. I mean, he's always been a really good player, but he's becoming more of a complete player.
You can tell the difference in how he's evolving. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
At Marmac Commercial Real Estate, our focus is providing service second to none. If you're looking to buy commercial property, development land, income-producing properties, or a farm, call the Marmac Commercial team. We provide service second to none. You can reach us at 256-214-2196 or 214-2227, or you can find us on our website at www.marmaccommercial.com.
All right, and we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Let's talk about the other Fletcher brother this time. Ryze's first half was less than spectacular. He had 14 yards rushing. He ended with 220 yards rushing, 22 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. Was this because he was finally healthy, or is this more game planning? What led to this?
Well, just kind
outburst?
of the story of the game. I mean, we wanted to throw the ball early, and we got behind the chain some. We had 3 holding calls, and so the first drive we had to complete a ball to Eli, on I think 3rd and 18, something like that,
Right.
that we converted. So we had to convert some long ones, but when we were ahead of the chains, we really were able to run the ball, especially boundary runs, and then getting him to that 3rd level to the safety, and then him doing the rest from there. But yeah, I was really surprised when I was running through those stats that he only had 3 carries in the first half.
Right.
And he only had 12 carries overall for 220 yards, so
Even
pretty
noticed
good.
that.
He's 20 yards a carry. That wins
not a
at
bad
any level. But yeah, he's special. He's fast enough on every play. If they have an angle, it doesn't matter. He can weak shoulder cut things and go score. Armadio was still good too.
Oh, yeah.
I think he averaged 7 yards a carry. But yeah, for him to score 5 touchdowns, so he had 14 touches, 5 went for touchdowns. That's pretty good.
I wouldn't complain.
He had a big night. He's finally healthy, yes, and he's finally to a point but he's doing more than just that. I mean, he's pass protecting, he's picking up blitzes, he's doing all the things he needs to do. He's blocking for JT on perimeter runs. So he's just been. It's nice to have that guy back. Obviously, nice to have Crawford back too. But both those guys are, again, we call them scoring monsters, and that's what they're doing.
Exactly. One thing about Ryze's statistics that were even more impressive to me is with all that you just told me, he was 43% of your offensive output.
Yeah, incredible.
I didn't believe it until I looked at the stats.
Right.
So you got a lot of guys contributing here.
Right, for sure. We again have great balance. All 3 of our receivers, including RJ, had big catches. Both of RJ's catches were first downs. One was in the 2-minute scenario that he made a big catch, a ball that he dropped the week before against Athens. He ended up making that play. So again, when we can balance and spread the ball, obviously it keeps everybody really happy, but also it helps, for them not to be able to zero in on any tendency. I think one thing too that Coach Prater and Coach Lang have done a really good job is moving Isaiah around more. I mean, like the post ball he caught, he was field number 1 receiver, which he's never that. He's either 2 to the field or boundary receiver. So to continue to move him, I think has made a difference. And even when we move him, we don't have to throw it to him. Moving to block and moving to do different things. So a lot of balance. Be very difficult to plan for us.
That's awesome. I want to talk about another position on the field. You only punted once, but Eli Tidwell has stepped back there.
Yep.
He's doing a good job for you.
Yeah, when Crawford came back, Crawford was like kind of taking some reps here and there, and I usually let those kickers kind of work it out. But finally I said, Crawford, you're not going to punt. I mean, you've been great and everything, but we want to keep you healthy. But also Eli's been so consistent, and he's such a good athlete. And his hands and everything, you don't worry about snap issues, and he's so fast to punt it. He doesn't take long steps or anything. He catches it and punts the thing, and very seldom has anybody been close to him. And then I think him punting inside the 20 has been better than I've ever had. He's hit a lot of balls inside the 10, inside the 5. Our guys are covering down and doing a good job, but Eli has been really solid doing that.
Well, he has, and he's been all over the field. So he's been a great contributor. I really liked this question last week, so I want to ask it again this week. Who was the guy that does the dirty work that doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet you want to highlight from this past game?
I think, it's easy to say our offensive line, but specifically our 2 guards. We ran a lot of gap runs this week, specifically the buck sweep. So with 2 pullers, 2 guards going, and Crittenden and Stinson have been, we highlighted them last week.
Right.
But the way that they pulled around and kicked people out and then wrapped on linebackers was a thing of beauty. I mean, we had some clinic runs that, we always say that if we went and spoke, we would show that film.
That's awesome.
And we had some really, really clean things. That run we probably ran it 15 times Friday. We probably averaged 30 yards a run on it, crazy numbers. All of Ryze's big ones came off that one run. But I think our guys couldn't do that last year. We didn't run well enough. And now we're getting two athletic guys, even though they're bigger guys, pulling out there and getting things sealed up. And that to me has been huge. People may not notice that. They may notice Ryze streaking down the sideline,
Right.
but there was a dang, kick out block and a wrap block that was a thing of beauty that happened before it. And then of course the other guys too. I mean, with Zeke pinning the guy so we can get the play started. I thought we had a lot of guys. I thought it was our best game by far up front.
Awesome, because that was my next point. Was it's the third week in a row you've rushed for over 250 yards.
Yeah.
So they're really solid.
They're settling in, and again, we're able to do it in a multitude of ways. Like against Athens, it was counter. We probably ran counter 20 times. Against Muscle Shoals, it was buck sweep. We run inside zone against people. Outside zone was really the play against Russellville. So again, as far as zeroing in on a scheme, it's really nice to have balance. We don't do a lot up front. We've got 5 or 6 skills that we teach our offensive line. We don't do any more than that. But they're really getting better at what we do. And we're doing some mixer runs too. I think our guys have done a good job of reading some guys, changing the scheme just a bit. Maybe one guy, we're reading the backside linebacker, reading the backside 3 technique, just to give us a mixer run. So I've been really pleased with that.
That's awesome. All right, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show. All right, we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, prior to halftime, you're trying to kick an extra point.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, it seems like we finally did. Can you tell us what in the world was going on?
Well, all right, we missed it. Okay.
Right.
We hit the left upright with it. And so, but they had a guy that was offsides. Well, in high school football, offsides is not a live play. The play is blown dead at the beginning of the play. So the play never happened, right? So if I declined the penalty, what they thought, Muscle Shoals thought, was that we basically took the missed PAT, but that's not the case. Again, in college football, it's a live play unless a guy's threatened or like he has unimpeded, path to the quarterback or something where a guy's going to have a safety issue. Well, in high school football, again, the play's dead, and so it's a yard and a half. Okay, the penalty. If I take the penalty, it puts it at the yard and a half. The launch angle of the ball. This gets heavy now. Okay, the launch angle of the ball
harder, right?
is a little bit higher because you're so close. Obviously we don't have an issue making a kick from the 10-yard line, which is where the ball is set off of PAT. It's at the 3, but our kicker's holding it our holder's holding it at the 10. And then it got to be a principle thing, to be honest with you. I'm not going to allow them to come out and misenforce the rules, right? When I know what the rule is. And the officials got together and made it right. Again, did it matter probably in Crawford knocking the next one through? Probably not. But after them going to their sideline, and I'm not going to, you know what I mean? We're not going to just kind of bow down to that. So, the point is that it was never a play. Therefore, we were able to kick it again from the same spot.
Right. Okay. It just took a lot of working out. And I mean, as soon as I went to the stands at halftime, I was bombarded. What happened? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I noticed guys playing on both sides of the field and special teams. So what I want to know is what you're doing with strength and conditioning, specifically conditioning to keep them fresh, but also they've got to be in good enough shape to handle all that extra stuff. Yeah,
we're having to do that a little regarding depth. We don't want a guy playing more than 10 or 15 plays on the other side. We will, if we have to, especially in the playoffs, we'll do that. But we've done that all year, and I don't think you do it when it's hot. I mean, it's a little bit warmer Friday than I expected, honestly, but it's still not 90 degrees. It's cooling down. We're in really good game shape. And so, you saw against Athens, Isaiah went over there and played a little bit. You're seeing more of those guys cover kicks and stuff like that. Right. You're seeing Quattlebaum go play a little bit of D-line. So we're going to do what we have to do. I mean, I went to a small school and you played both ways and played kicking. I kicked and you have to play everything. So you can do it. It's just to play at our level, you don't want to do it more than, 10 to 15 snaps on the other side. But now when it's tight and we've got to, get a stop or we've got to score a touchdown, we'll do what we have to do to play a guy both ways to make sure that happens.
Awesome. We'll be right back after a break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hi, I'm Jenny Tankersley.
I'm Dwight Tankersley.
And I'm Rejane Hampton, and we're your agency on Main. Local realtors here to serve you. One of our team members will be more than happy to find you that perfect home. Fighting Tigers!
All right, and we're here with our Eddie Pruitt Ford Player of the Week, Ryze Fletcher. And Ryze, let's just look at your numbers. You had 220 all-purpose yards, 5 touchdowns last week. And let me tell you, the week before, you were our 1A player of the game. You know, offensive line got player of the game. But this week, there was no doubt. Was your performance so electric because you're finally healthy, or are you seeing the field in a new way?
I think it's a little bit of both in a way, because my ankle was a problem for like a couple of weeks, and then it's not even really hurting no more at all. And then I don't know, it's just something about, customers have been telling me all like since the summer that this year was the year, and I was just thinking like, I don't know. And then, I really am seeing the field a lot better than I was last year, especially. And the O-line they're really coming together this year.
They are, and I've noticed your gap work is better. But when you get on the outside, you're not going to catch you. But that's my next question. A few people were surprised at how fast you are going down the sideline. I'm not. I've seen you at a track meet. Okay? And I know you're an elite sprinter. I've seen that live. So which do you like better, football or track?
Football.
Okay. What do you think, or who do you think is the best defense you've faced so far this season?
Well, I've only played like 3 games, but out of those, probably Coleman.
Really? Okay. So they hit the hardest. They were the most physical.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you like to see your game grow? I mean, I know 220 yards and 5 touchdowns is impressive, but as an athlete who wants to be elite, you always want to improve. So how are you wanting to grow your game or improve your game? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at getting bigger and stronger. Really, that's about it. Because I got the speed and I have like the vision or whatever. I just need to grow a little bit.
Got you. All right, I ask everybody's question. What's your favorite part of practice?
Probably the part where he says on your coordinators.
So when it's over? Or...
Yeah.
I love it. What do you plan on doing after high school?
Going to college to run track and play football is what I really want to do.
So you want to do both? Okay. Well, there's plenty of athletes that have done that. Tennessee used to have athletes that did that all the time. All right. Well, that was easy. Thank you so much for your time. We'll be back next week with the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. Grill burgers, kebabs, steaks at 800 degrees, slow smoke a perfect slab of ribs, and even bake a crispy pizza. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
All right, and we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. A win is a win, Coach, but Muscle Shoals had 66 offensive snaps. I know you know this, and I keep asking you about this, but the fans are asking, 314 yards on the ground for Muscle Shoals. We talked about this kind of in the first segment, but what are we going to do?
Well, the old adage is you got to be able to run the football and stop the run, and we're not stopping the run at a high enough level. If it doesn't get fixed, it'll cost us at some point. We won't be able to hold up. I don't know. I'm at a loss. I mean, we're not, at times it's, D-line's kind of getting rolled out of there. At times it's misfitting from linebackers. At times it's miscommunicating the call. And we're working on it every day. I mean, we met this morning, and I probably spent an hour and a half in there with defensive staff that I don't really normally do, just to, who's at the standard right now, off our football team. Who's not there? Well, how do we either get those guys there or replace those guys? And it's never too late to do that. I'm not one of those that says, well, the guys earned this. No, I mean, you earn it every week. Exactly. And if you're not going to raise up and play and, raise your level of play, if you're not going to do that, then you can't play. And so we're going to continue to make changes until we find those 11. Is that, again, some offensive guys coming over there and helping maybe. Maybe some of our bigger body O-linemen coming over there in certain sets. We've been absolutely terrible in the red zone. So I'm really discouraged the fact they had 314 yards rushing. I mean, it just can't happen. Over 6 yards a carry, that needs to be more like 3.5.
Right.
And, they do a good job, and they were absolutely huge up front. and by far the best team we've played on offense this year. They were good. They're really good. But it's still inexcusable that we can't get the stops when we need them. And it's frustrating because, again, if we're able to get a few stops, then we'll blow the doors off because our offense is so efficient. But we're just not getting those right now. The kids aren't quitting. I mean, it's not that they're not playing hard. They're doing that. It's just we've got to continue to be a little bit more physical because, again, we won't win down the stretch if we can't get that done.
Right. In defense of the defense, you had players out. You had several guys that were playing new positions against the toughest offense we faced that I observed. Can you elaborate on some of the personnel switcheroos? I mean, I think I saw Osteen playing Sam sometimes. You know, you got some new safeties in.
Yes,
Can
it was
you
a
talk to us
lot.
about
I mean,
that?
you know, with Peyton being out, Peyton will be back this week, which will be huge for us. You know, and then Drake Borden playing. I thought Drake played a fantastic game. Stayed over the top of a couple throws. Had a really good tackle on our sideline where he was very physical. Really pleased with Drake Borden. He played the second half of the Athens game and then all of the Muscle Shoals game. I thought Walker Hoyle played his best game. DJ came in and was back this week and healthy again and played safety, and I thought he had 10 tackles from the safety position, which was huge, too many, but he did what he needed to do to get the guy on the ground, didn't give up explosive plays. I thought Mookie was by far his best. I think it's 20 tackles or what it was.
Yeah.
His best night ever. He was better in practice from Tuesday through Thursday as far as reading. We've talked a lot about that, is becoming a true linebacker, learning how to read things with guards and things like that. So I thought we were really good in that phase with him especially, but it'll be nice to get Peyton back. But yeah, we were scrambling at times, and hopefully we'll continue to settle in. But we've had a lot of injuries, you know, with Peyton Roberts going down in week 1. You know, a position, the outside linebacker kind of DB position that we really playing 5 DBs on the field at one time. At one time we're really deep, now we're not. And so we've had to shuffle the deck, but guys have stepped up when they needed to, and again, stepped up in big moments.
Well, and you know, you talked about Mookie, so let's look at the havoc rate, 17%. But the positive was that they seemed to have improved as the game went on. It seemed that our defense was more effective. They never gave up.
Yeah.
They kept, you know, grinding.
Well, people keep asking me, like, what is said at halftime? I'm like, well, whatever we're saying at halftime, we probably need to say pregame. You know, I don't know. We just don't start real well. You know, our team in the second half is a totally different team, both stopping the run and running it like we talk about. Again, if I'm picking the second half to be our time to shine. Right. But we've got to do a better job of starting. But we did settle in, and we did find stops. And I don't know, we just got to start faster and stop kind of sitting back and letting the action happen. Go create the action right now. And hopefully we'll start doing that.
Well, I keep hearing, oh, we're just a second half team. It just makes me nervous.
I'd like to be a both half team.
Exactly.
That'd be great.
We'll be a 4-quarter team.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
All right, we'll be right back after this break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey folks, my staff and I here at Eddie Pruitt Ford would like to thank you guys. We're in our 37th year in business, and we'd also like to thank the Hartselle Tiger football team that the preparation they put in for Coach Moore and his great staff, and especially our kids has worked so hard in the off season to get ready for another great season. Go Tigers!
All right, and we're back with Coach Bryan Moore. Looking at next Friday, Coach, Hazel Green is struggling with a 2-5 record, 5-game losing streak. How do you keep your guys hyped up for this one?
Well, it's a region championship game. I mean, we could call last week what it is. I mean, it was a big, you know, stepping stone game, and obviously the team that won against Muscle Shoals, Muscle Shoals, was the leader in the clubhouse, but still got to win this week. And so, you know, I don't think that'll be real difficult. We played them in a 7-on-7 this summer, and they beat us, and our kids know that and remember that. So we're excited to be able to play them. They've got some dynamic players, though. I mean, there are a couple of games that they were really close. They were close with Decatur. Had a chance to beat Decatur last Friday night, so they're not quitting. I mean, the 5-game losing streak, 2 of those 5 have been really close. The game with Buckhorn, the game with Coleman, they were all close score or less. And so they've played at a high level at times. But again, I think our kids know what's at stake. Coming back home after a long road trip and in a very emotional game, I think we'll play really well.
Who are we going to watch for Friday night?
Well, for them first, 3, 5, and 7 are their dynamic players. The quarterback is about 6'3". He played against us last year. Real threat with his feet. And they've got some guys that can go and can really run. When I saw them run away from Muscle Shoals a couple of times, I thought, wow, they can really go. For us, again, I hope it's still balanced the way that we have done it, the way that our offense has gone. I hope our defense plays better. I want Dom and Isaac and a couple of those guys to really show up in the box this week. I think they will.
I do too. I know people think the last 2 games are a foregone conclusion. I mean, you can hear, you hear conversations. But after Hazel Green, you have Buckhorn, and they beat Bob Jones. And
Yeah.
Bob Jones has only lost 2 this year. They've turned their season around. Bob Jones, and they handled us pretty well in spring.
They did. Buckhorn, Coach Patterson's done a really good job with them. I've not been able to see them on film any, just the way that the region works out, and the fact that they play the team we play every week. They're behind us a week, so like they play Muscle Shoals this week. That's been weird to not see them. But I know they've always had good players over there. Last year we went over there, I thought they had as good or better players than we did. And then Coach Patterson coming from Bob Jones, okay, so that meant something to him to win that game. So there's a lot of emotion there. But they're going to be really good. But our last 2, you say what you want, those are going to be games we have to play well. None of our region games, you think back over the entire year, have been cakewalks. Not one. Everyone's been a fight. Every one of those games has been a second half game where we've had to finish.
Right.
Our region is really tough, and we're beat up because of it. But there's no rest. I mean, you can't. It is what it is. We got to go play.
Right.
Shoulders and knees and ankles, and it's just part of it. There's no break, especially when you don't have a bye week. It's been all gas right here. I mean, there's no time to settle, and we better play well this week.
Well, we hit this point in the season where I'm going to ask this every week. If the season ended Friday, who are we facing in the first round?
So we'll match with Pinson and Clay's region. They still got some shaking out to do. Looks like, we'll be probably the 1 or 2 seed. So would be probably a Gardendale or even a Pinson. So, it's quite a matchup in the first round. But the point is, though, these next 2 games, we've got to handle our business.
Exactly.
So just like we did last year, I thought we played well at Hazel Green and really well at Buckhorn before the bye week. Therefore, everybody's feeling good. And then you go into the bye week and get better work on you. You have time to scout. That's a good planning deal. We're week 10, we're off, so we can go watch our opponent. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough first round matchup for sure.
Okay. Now for the Eddie Pruitt Ford fan question of the week. And I usually try to ask the questions out. I'm going to read this one so I don't screw it up. All right. Scheme-wise, when teams are pulling 3 players from one side to the other to block for the ball carrier, what does the defense do? You have to line up to respect the strong side, but when they pull to the weak side, ideally, what should happen?
Well, I mean, we got to fit it. If it's 3 pullers, I mean, that means there's 3 extra gaps. And so somebody from the back end's got to come and help fit it. And we've done that. Like, for example, Bull is so good to the field. At times, we've allowed the field side to be down in the count. So, like, as far as gaps, so that they'll run it over there. Well, Friday night, we left the weak side heavy. So Isaac was over there, Porter was over there, son Brody, Jake England's the boundary player, and we still had a hard time handling it. When they're pulling a guard and both fullbacks, which is what he's talking about with 3 pullers, there's a lot of gaps to fit. The key is, though, is you can't give space to allow all 3 of them to fit through. See, we never pull 3 guys because the gaps, sometimes you can't fit them all 3 in there. But when you're getting expanded on that side and the tackle is 6'5", 285 pounds, and he's opening up your end, then they can fit those 3 through there.
Gotcha.
Well, that means that Mookie is trying to get over the top, the Will may be trying to get over the top, or the Sam linebacker trying to help to the weak side, a free safety fitting down. But all that trash is coming through there, and it was +4, +7, +9, and you gotta knock that back. If that stuff gets to you before you're downhill, it's going to be a 5-yard gain. And then with 22, he's running about this high off the ground with forward lean, and you're having a hard time bringing him down. So we tried to invite them to run the ball strong to Bull by not sliding the front, but they still ran it over there because of the game plan. And ultimately, our guys have got to rise up over there and be more physical, and fit things faster and not let the action come to us.
Gotcha. All right.
It's a good question.
Show. That was a good question. All right. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Peck Funeral Home is owned and operated by folks who live in the same communities they serve. Our employees are the heart of our business. The funeral home proudly employs over 30 local individuals. Currently, the funeral home is managed by Jeff Halbrooks, who has held that position for over 20 years. Our goal is simple and has remained the same now since 1929. Peck Funeral Home strives to provide genuine service from the heart.
All right, and this week in Hartselle High Athletics, We're going to start with Thursday, October 14th, where the 8th grade football team is going to travel to Discovery Middle School to compete in the 8th grade championship. Our varsity volleyball team is going to host the area tournament here at Hartselle High School. Please come out and support your Tigers, and tickets will be available on GoFan only. Friday, October 15th, football will host Hazel Green at J.P. Kane. Believe it or not, our Saturday's empty. No activity on Saturday. On Monday, October 18th, 9th grade football team is going to travel to Hazel Green. And on Tuesday, October 18th, there are no athletic events because it's our district ACT. So this is this week in Hartselle High Athletics. We never have